Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our board meeting here in the Levine Elementary School District. Can we start with roll call, please, Elsa? Here. Here. Here.
Here.
Here.
Thank you. And if you could all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which is one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Okay, we need to approve the agenda this evening. Motion? Second. Motion and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. And motion carries. We are on to the reorganization of the board, or organization of the board, I should say. We need to elect a governing board president. Do I have any nominations?
I nominate you, Jill Berrigan.
Thank you.
I second that.
Okay.
Third.
You guys are so sweet. Thank you. I am happy and honored to continue to serve as the board president. All those in favor?
Aye.
And I abstain. Motion carries. And we need the election of the governing board clerk. Do I have a nomination? Anybody? Okay.
I would like to do it.
I was gonna, okay, would you like
Nominate
to?
Paul Ward.
Okay, there you go. Done and done. Okay, so I will second that nomination. It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. And we'll reorg positions at the next board meeting. It's just easier that way in terms of space. Okay? Very good. And on to the approval of the minutes from the December 9th board meeting. Do I have a motion?
Motion? Second?
Been motioned and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Dr. Sprout, superintendent's report. Give us lots of good stuff.
Again, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Continuing as president. We appreciate you. And thank you to Ms. Anderson for your service as clerk, and congratulations to Ms. Ward. Speaking of our governing board, January is School Board Recognition Month. We would like to start this meeting by recognizing our governing board members, the Levine community's elected educational leaders, for your service, stewardship, high standards, and support of our staff, students, and parents. We greatly appreciate all that you do and how you have led us in the past year to ensure an outstanding school system continues during challenging times. Our theme this year is Igniting Excellence, which is a call to start the reaction in others' lives to bring about their greatest potential. And we have an Igniting Excellence lapel pin for you in recognition, for each of you, in recognition of your service. So thank you, Governing Board, for all that you do.
Thank you.
It is exciting whenever you plant seeds and see them come to fruition and recognition. I'm happy to say that Paseo Point School is a recipient of the 2021 Golden Bell Promise Award for its dual language Spanish immersion program. The prestigious Golden Bell recognizes educational initiatives that have a proven record of achieving excellence. It is rewarded annually by the Arizona School Boards Association, and the school was formally recognized at the ASBA annual conference last month. I would like to say thank you. Sail Point is in its 6th year now. It seems like it just opened. But thank you to those who were in on the planning process for Paseo Point, and for the staff, parents, and students that make it a resounding success and wonderful educational option for our community. Congratulations, Paseo Point. Let's give them a round of applause. Trailside Point Performing Arts Academy has been recognized as a best middle school by U.S. News and World Report. The school placed the top 30% of middle schools within Arizona in this category. Trailside joins Vista del Sur in achieving a best ranking by the publication. Congratulations to Principal Brett Humphrey and the awesome staff at Trailside, your students and your parents, and also this was from 2018-19 data, and so all Sarah Zambruski was principal at that point as well, so congratulations to her. Let's give a round of applause to Trailside team. MC Cash student Roberto Alvarado has been selected as an Arizona Student Success Story for the Hope Conference 2021. Roberto was selected for his dedication to academics and personal growth. In the past year, Roberto's teacher has seen him advance in both his reading and math skills. He gives not 100%, 1,000% every single day. In fact, he's joined the school's band program now where he plays the trumpet. Of the dozens of applications that were submitted throughout the state, only 4 students were selected as winners. Roberto's teacher, Sammy Rapp, who nominated him, said the following: Roberto always walks into a class with a huge smile, a high five, and a hug. His kindness is exuberant. His helpfulness and willingness to try are unmatched in my classroom. His sensitivity for others and the way he looks out for those who need help is genuine. He is always the first to volunteer for any task. He is always so helpful to his friends, especially when he sees them struggling. He is a determined, happy, and bottom line, an amazing young man. Roberto is here tonight. Roberto, would you please come forward to be recognized? And thank you, Ms. Rapp. Australia Foothills robotics team participated in the first LEGO League robotics competition at Central High School last month. The team, made up of students in grades 4 through 8, has been working and practicing for weeks on building a robot and coding it to navigate through a series of 22 missions. At the design competition, the team was tasked with improving cargo transport. I guess that is a problem in our country right now. And competed in 3 different matches. EFGA took 9th place overall and is looking forward to continuing the program next year. Look right there. There's your future engineers and coming up behind us. And so congratulations to EFGA. You know, one of the exciting parts of working in our school district is watching employees get their college degrees and then begin working for us as teachers. And so we have several employees who recently received bachelor degrees at the end of last semester in December. Congratulations to the following graduates who will be continuing their careers in the field of education and here in Levine: James Carruthers, who is now a 4th grade teacher at Levine Elementary School and graduated from Northern Arizona University. Eleni Sichoma, who is at Trailside Point. She graduated from Grand Canyon University. She currently works as an instructional associate, but we're getting our hooks into her to continue with us next year as a teacher. And Sarah Gove from Paseo Point, who graduated from Grand Canyon University and is teaching 7th grade at Paseo Point School. Congratulations to our graduates. And now moving on to our employees of the month. Our first is our certified employee of the month, Robert Galecki, 5th grade teacher at Vista del Sur. Robert is always going above and beyond to not just better himself as an educator, but those around him as well. He offers before and after school tutoring to make sure his students are supported and set up for success. He is the definition of a team player and is always willing to jump in wherever he is needed, including if that entails coaching a sport that he knows nothing about. Robert coached soccer as well as softball so that Vista would be able to have a team. Robert is constantly growing as a learner himself to ensure the success of all learners in his classroom. He meets with his coaches regularly to review lesson plans and reflects on past lessons to better himself as a teacher. He has high expectations for himself, and that is clearly replicated in his classroom. The bar is set high for his students as they continue to reach for the goals that are set for them. Robert pushes his students to not only be proficient, but highly proficient learners. Employee of the Month, Robert Galecki. Please come forward, Robert. We've got you now.
Everywhere. Just like our nomination said, he coaches soccer, he coaches softball, both sports he knows nothing about. Loves our children. He loves them. He will do anything for them and they know it. He will never give up on them and he will work with them until they get that highly positioned just like he does. But he is a gift. We love him and we're just really proud. One of his nicknames is the ELA Prince. And so I just want to take this opportunity to recognize his vertical team based on that nickname. But we love you. Congratulations.
Next, our classified employee of the month, Claudia Vita Yuri, from our guest teacher instructional associate at EFGA. Claudia is always helpful and kind. She's like Superwoman. She does it all with a very positive mindset, from helping small groups of students to substituting in the classroom when a certified member is out. Claudia is kind and supportive to all students by always taking the time to listen to their needs. Oftentimes, students just need someone to listen and explain things to them in a different way, and she helps them to find solutions and works with them to think about their choices. Sometimes staff members need support or someone to bounce ideas off of. Claudia is that person. And as all of us that work in this district know, a guest teacher and instructional associate, you never know what any day is going to look like when you start your day. And Claudia does it all with excellence. Please join me in congratulating Claudia Vita Yuri as our classified employee of the month.
Yes, everything, I've been Claudia for a long time, and everything that was written is so true. She is an integral part to our everyday success. She's our guest teacher, so, there's many days we're like, hey, you were assigned here, but we have to meet you here, and she's, yes, absolutely, and she's on the way. So positive, anything that we ask her to do, she's doing it, and then when she's not needed as a sub, I can always find her in somebody's classroom, helping out, pulling small groups, working with students. I never see her just sitting and not doing anything. So, in every aspect of her career, so very.
If you could step back one picture or slide there, Claudia, that is one I would put up on the refrigerator right there. That is a great picture. Our next classified employee of the month is from last month, and she wasn't able to be here tonight either, but we're going to go ahead and recognize her. And that's Teresa Silva, our special education instructional associate at Rogers Ranch. Teresa puts her heart into everything she does for her students. She motivates, inspires, and supports each individual she works with. She encourages and pushes her students to be the best they can be, both inside and outside of school. She is constantly looking for ways to motivate and excel the students in all aspects of teaching, socially, emotionally, academically, and behaviorally. Teresa takes on the leadership role of instructional associate and is able to run a classroom independently if she is a classroom teacher. She finds activities that align to IEP goals and standards. She researches different skills to work on with students that will increase their self-regulation skills, and she is always eager to help other IAs and teachers. From Rogers Ranch, Classified Employee of the Month, Teresa Silva. All right, we are ready for Cheatham Elementary School's Classroom Spotlight, and at this point, we'll turn it over to Assistant Principal Francine Tate.
Thank you. Good evening, President Berrigan, Dr. Sprout, members of the board, and guests. Thank you so much for having us here tonight. Tonight, you are going to learn about reciprocal reading. So our students have been preparing, and this is something that we have been implementing in this instructional strategy. So I am going to turn it over to 7th grade teacher, Miss Mister, and 6th grade teacher, Miss Long.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Hi, I'm Julia Mister, 7th grade teacher, 7th grade ELA teacher at Cheatham. Reciprocal reading is a strategy that we do at Cheatham. This strategy is done in every classroom across Cheatham's campus from kindergarten to 8th grade. The students are placed with partners. They are placed with partners so that we elicit that equal participation among the students and their peers. While their students are reciprocal reading, they are summarized what they have read. They are pulling textual evidence to support the summary of what they read. They are also helping with word recognition with their partners if their partners needs help. This is a complete student-led activity, by the way.
And my name is Caitlin Long. I am the 6th grade ELA teacher at Cheatham. And when we are using reciprocal reading, teachers are strategically partnering these students up based on their reading levels. As she was saying, it is a very structured activity so that it is student-led and they can be actively involved in the reading process. So they are able to have those in-depth conversations. They can ask questions. They can coach one another. And it's also great because it can be adapted to become more rigorous if needed. So right now we're really focusing on like summarizing and pulling that text evidence, but we can also have it where they're making predictions, asking each other higher level questioning. And it's just really great because it can be used all across campus. I've used it when I was teaching it with Discovery Ed last year. It can be used in 1st grade with ReadyGen. It's accessible all across Cheatham, and it has that flexibility where it can be utilized effectively. So it's been really great.
Some of the additional benefits that we see at Cheatham as teachers is that it provides a safe place for students to share their own thoughts and views. Sometimes when one of the students is reading the passage and sharing their summary, you see the other student's light bulb go off just by hearing the other student's views, because maybe they weren't understanding it before on their own. It also sparks new connections because the teacher is partnering the student with somebody that is academically strong with that student. So it's not something that they would pick on their own. It also doesn't just support academic learning. This also supports social and emotional learning. So it works on their social skills as well. It encourages appreciation for discussion and differing views, which means it allows the students to learn what being open-minded is, listening to somebody else's views and understanding that that could be a way that, or a way to understand the passage as well. It's not just what you think this passage means. On the next slide, we're going to be showing you how we use reciprocal reading across the school, from kindergarten to 1st grade, 3rd graders.
So specifically, we're going to be looking at 2 1st graders and 2 3rd graders today. So let me see if I can. Here's,
About 30-second long video.
here's 1st grade.
She gently passed the soil down around each baby's trees. Okay, it's about Papa and Katie planting plants. Them are planting and Papa's digging and scooping. She jumping.
Technical difficulty. Thank you, Tate.
All right, and now here is third graders.
The little flickers of lightning, mutterings of thunder, and a little patter of rain. What did you read about? I read about the grandpa read a story about the past to Thomas, and then it was about how he overcome his fear of the storm. Yeah, because in the story it says that he remembered his puppy and he forgot about the storm because he was so focused on Melvin.
All right.
Jumped house.
We're watching again. All right, so now we are going to have some of our 6th and 7th graders come up with our curriculum, and they are going to be showing you how they use reciprocal reading in our classrooms. So 6th and 7th graders that are here, please come on up.
They do have their novels. They're reading the novel We Beat the Street in 7th grade, and they're reading Percy Jackson with Miss Long in 6th grade.
All right, so get with your partner and then I'll.
Don't be shy.
We're all little.
Come on up.
All right, Cavalia and Janai.
Hi, I'm Jill. What's your name? Leah, nice to meet you. Hello. Hello. I need to ask you to try plenty of room here. Okay. Oh, and I remember from south way out on Island. It was a mom pet, a little pet box who shaded her half in the inside. There was always a fan inside the chapter, and most of the time, I loved it. We've been going here since I was 8. My mom has been going good. My mom has been going even longer. She never exactly said, but I knew why it was basically my dad. So I read about where they and his dad and that and he got closer to Smiley. She was able to throw and here to provide eyes turned there.
I do. I think thank you, girls. Great job. Great job.
Yeah.
Thank you again for having Cheatham Elementary here and letting our students showcase our reciprocal reading strategies that they've been working really hard this year. Thank you for this amazing opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Started. One more round of applause. Paseo Point sixth grade student Carlos Gaspar and his parents Selma and Juan were tragically killed in a car accident on New Year's Day. Carlos was recognized in 2016 with the I Can Do It Award presented by the Arizona Council for Exceptional Children for excelling in academics and overcoming his physical challenges. Every staff member at Paseo Point knew Carlos, and he was a wonderful friend to his fellow students. And his parents were truly wonderful people. Carlos had a great sense of humor and was always caught smiling and laughing, including when he was speeding in the hall and reminded to slow down. He would giggle because of the fun he was having. A wonderful young man and family. And we extend our condolences to their extended family, fellow students, and the staff of Paseo Point. I would ask that we observe a moment of silence in their memory at this time. Thank you. President Berrigan, that wraps up our superintendent's report.
Thank you, everyone, for coming this evening and sharing your kids with us. And before the ELA print week, I'm going to share a quick story because she was my daughter's teacher. And before she was going into his classroom the year before, she knew he was going to be your teacher the next year. She said, "I'm a little afraid to go into Mr. Galecki's class. He has high expectations." And I said, "He has high expectations because he knows that you guys can meet those expectations." We have teachers and staff like that across this district. Mr. Galecki being at the top of that pile, but we have a wonderful, incredible staff here. So thank you, Mr. Galecki. You have a good night too. So we'll take a break. I did. Well, and I think we have the Safe Returns to Schools update, correct?
Yes, thank
Okay.
you. Thank you, President Berrigan. Tonight, we will be hearing an update on our safe return to in-person instruction by Assistant Superintendent Human Resources, Tim Thomas. I would like to publicly thank all of our employees who have been very, very devoted to keeping our schools open and safe for learning. Thanks also to our parents and community members for their grace and support. As President Berrigan stated to me recently, none of us have ever been in these situations before, and our community has been a model for the nation to follow. Mr. Thomas, we also thank you for your leadership in all things pandemic, as well as our leadership team that is here, governing board, and once again, our incredible staff. There are thousands of stories of their impact during this time. And with that, we'll turn it over to Mr. Thomas.
Good evening, President Berrigan, members of the governing board, and Dr. Sprout. Thank you for giving me an opportunity this evening to present to you an update on our safe return to instruction, in-person instruction plan. The Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief 3 or ESSER 3 grant requires a school district to have a safe return to in-person instruction plan. The plan must be reviewed and updated at least every 6 months. The last update that we gave to the governing board was back in August, the August 24th, 2021 board meeting. The plan also requires school districts to seek community input. Community members can provide input by using the Google survey located on our district website. So again, just go to the Levine homepage and click on the Safe Return to School, and the input form is located right there. I'm going to go over some of our major mitigation strategies first, and just a reminder that from the start of the pandemic, the Levine School District has always followed guidance from public health authorities when implementing mitigation strategies. So CDC, the Arizona Department of Health Services, and Maricopa County Department of Public Health. So I've been in numerous meetings where it's like, well, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor. You know, most of us here are educators getting through a pandemic, so we, you know, whether trying to make sense of something that is being recommended, we've followed that course, and we've felt that we've had some success doing that. The first major mitigation strategy that I'll speak of is that of face mask, right? So the district requires staff and students to wear a face covering when determined to be necessary by federal, state, or local health authorities. Families who wish to opt their child out of this regulation may do so by completing an opt-out form. And I just have a little bullet there that based on the number of opt-out forms, right now at last check, over 90% of our students were wearing a face mask or are wearing a face mask. Quarantine procedures. So while we were enjoying winter break, just finished with the Christmas holiday, on December 27th, the CDC issued a change in its guidance or recommendation for its quarantine period. The quarantine period for students exposed to COVID-19 is now 5 calendar days, followed by wearing a mask for the next 5 calendar days while at school. And that's regardless if they have previously opted out. And then also something that remained in place were that students who are fully vaccinated or who are wearing a mask or close contact and they were wearing a mask are exempt from needing to quarantine. So the big one here is the 5 days, right? It went from 10 to 5, but the other things were already in place. That guidance of the quarantine back earlier in the school year with the face mask, that dramatically reduced the number of students who needed to quarantine when both the student who tested positive and the close contact were wearing a mask. So again, that big recommendation there is that 10 to 5 days, but then also wearing the mask for the additional 5 days when coming out of quarantine. The other big change on December 27th was the isolation period changed also from 10 days to 5 days. And it's been repeated many times, but the difference between quarantine and isolation is when somebody has tested positive. The quarantine is when somebody is a close contact of somebody. So these are for individuals who have a confirmed COVID-19 or are positive for COVID-19. The isolation period for students and employees is 5 calendar days from the day symptoms appeared or the day they tested positive if they're asymptomatic. And again, after those 5 days, they can return to school, but they need to continue to wear a mask for the duration of what would have been the 10 isolation days. Diagnostic testing. This was a game changer for us a few months back. So the Levine School District provides free COVID-19 testing to students and staff who are sent to the health office with COVID-like symptoms. The tests are provided by Maricopa County Department of Public Health in weekly allotments. The test provides results within 15 minutes and allows students and staff to return to school if they have a negative test. The testing, I do want to note, requires parent or guardian consent. Remember, prior to this, if a staff or student had COVID-like symptoms, they were sent home for 10 days, and that was just for a small period of time, and then they could test and return to school after that. But we've been very proactive in this. These things don't just get delivered to our doorstep every week. You might have seen whether it's a supply chain issue or the demand for COVID-19 test. But we're actively pursuing. We're begging. We're pleading sometimes. Earlier this week at a warehouse for some COVID-19 tests, but we're doing whatever we can because we know it keeps helps with our staffing shortage potentially and it keeps kids in school. So we're relentless in our pursuit of that, and we'll continue with that. I also put down at the bottom that we, not just in our schools, but our community, right? We know the Levine School District is the center of the community, and we make testing available. We have it here at the LEC. You might have seen a line wrapped around the building as you entered this evening. It's currently 3 days a week, and starting next week, it'll be 5 days a week. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Dr. Roselle for his efforts in that. He's the one that pursues that, organizes it, works with the vendor, gets the information out, and he's been a great support with bringing testing to the Levine Education Center and to our community. Vaccinations. So we continue to encourage all eligible staff and students to be fully vaccinated and pursue a booster vaccination if eligible. We've done numerous vaccination clinics, events. We partnered with PXU or Phoenix Union. early on in the vaccination process to ensure our staff had the opportunity. We brought in boosters to the conference rooms and lounges, to the workrooms, wherever they find a spot, to the schools. Starting next week, we will have vaccination will be available here at the Lavina Education Center 3 days a week in Building A, starting on January 19th. So every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, employees, families, community members. We never want not having a vaccine accessible to be the reason that somebody's not vaccinated. And then as you also, the second bullet, all schools are already scheduled. Some have already hosted them this month, but every school will host a pediatric vaccination clinic on their campus for the initial vaccination as well as the second follow-up. And during those, even though they're pediatrics, if a parent brings their child in and they're not vaccinated, they have the adult, they have the booster, they have them all. So again, the accessibility to vaccines is just one more major mitigation strategy that we want to make it sure is available. We have many other additional mitigation strategies, right? Hand washing and respiratory etiquette, how we clean and sanitize to ensure our campuses are healthy, cohorting to the extent possible or when feasible. And that information and much more can be found on our Safe Return to In-Person Instruction Family Handbook, also located on our district website. So I went through some data and I thought, you know what? In the media, things you're reading, what would the public like to know? You know, we've been transparent from the beginning. That's something that we have pride ourselves on, that Dr. Sprout will get in front of staff members, in front of parents or the community, and you know, what do you want to know? And if we have the answer, we'll tell you, and if we don't, we'll figure it out, and we'll navigate this pandemic together. And so I just thought I'd throw up, this is since winter break, the first 8 days. So 5 days last week, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, through yesterday, when the presentation was being put together. But we are averaging 45 classroom teacher absences per day, and that equates to on an average of 22 unfilled classrooms per day. I will just also be in transparency. We've had 82 staff members that have tested positive for COVID-19 since we've returned from winter break. So first, like, oh, that sounds a little dismal, but if you look at our staff coverage, so the 22 unfilled, we have about a 50% fill rate right now. And those first 50% are filled with our guest teacher instructional assistants and district guest teachers. So then after those are filled, we have 22 unfilled. How are we gonna teach the kids? Well, we have resources here in Levine. We have 16 certified tutors on our campus. So every school has 2 certified tutors with the exception of Vista and EFGA who have 1. We also have 2 instructional coaches on every single campus with the exception of Vista and EFGA who have 1. So there are 32, those are certificated employees, 16 master teachers and instructional coaches, and then 16 certified teachers. So if you see those 22 unfilled and you can do the math, we have 32 just there that we're fine, right? Like we're keeping schools open, we're not panicking, we're not, you know, it's not ideal. Our kids are getting a quality education with that model. If we had to go beyond that, if things got even worse, we have 7 district and gifted EL and SPED coaches that we haven't tapped into. And then we have another emergency plan of here at the district office. We have a variety of Levine Education Center employees who are ready to mobilize on the schools to do clerical work in the front offices, to cover a classroom. I have a teaching cert, you know, Ms. Davis, and hey, Dr. Sprout is ready to, he wants to. Some principals are a little more reluctant to have him on the campus, I don't know why. But my point is we're all hands on deck. And, you know, Dr. Sprout mentioned in his intro about our staff. And we appreciate at the end of every board meeting, the governing board always recognize our staff. You've done many times already this evening, and I'd be, you know, again, remiss if I didn't stand up here and just talk about, I could speak all evening about the incredible staff that we have, and to see the work and them pull together, and they do it because they know we need to keep schools open. They know kids need to be in classrooms learning. closing schools is not an option. There's not a conversation about it right now. And everybody is doing whatever they need to do. We know it's temporary, right? So we can get through some speed bumps and know that we're going to pull out of this and be okay. And that's what makes Levine who we are. So we have a plan that we haven't even got to the panic or emergency part of the plan yet, as far as if people are the big elephant, you know, are schools going to close, or how are we staffing things? We're doing okay. We're doing better than okay. I also just found out yesterday, the day before yesterday, Maricopa County Department of Public Health has a school staffing program, and they're onboarding employees, and they're doing what they've been awesome. You know, they've been a great partner to us through this pandemic. We attend webinars every Thursday and get guidance and from professionals, and they not only give us guidance, but they put money and time into providing us with resources. So they have onboarded employees, Maricopa County employees, full-time employees. They bring them in, they train them for a couple weeks, they background screen them and give them and fingerprint them, and then they're ready to go out to the schools. But again, these don't just show up on your doorstep. You have to pursue these resources, and we've pursued them, and we were the recipients of MC Cash, Paseo Point, and Rogers Ranch are recipients of this program, which will provide an additional full-time health office staff member starting after the holiday on Monday, on Tuesday. So it's a 40-hour, it's not a Levine employee. It's not a volunteer either. It's Maricopa County sending resources, mobilizing resources out to our schools. Outside of our classrooms, you can only imagine where the highest needs are outside, and that's in our health offices. So the goal is to get every school one. We've applied and are pursuing every school, but with staffing shortages, they're as quick as they're onboarding them, they're getting them out to the schools. But we have 3, and we'll take it right now, and we'll continue to see if we can't get the rest of our schools some additional help in the health office. Student attendance, right? So just like the staff, we're seeing some student attendance as well, and just I threw some numbers up there. Currently, in the first 8 days, since we've returned from winter break, we have 156 students that have tested positive, or who have reported to us that they have tested positive, or we've tested them in the health office and they've tested positive. And we have 42 students have needed to quarantine for being identified as a close contact currently as of today. The graph in front of you, the top graph is the highest 6 days of absences during our peak period in August. If you can think back to August, when we had a surge in cases. Maybe that was a Delta. I don't remember what the variant was back then in August. Was it the Delta? Maybe it was a Delta, and compared to the Omicron, compared to Flurona or whatever's coming next. You can see that the orange bar is where we are today in our 6 highest days of school since returning from winter break. The blue bar is where we were in August on our sixth highest days of absenteeism. So you can see we've never reached where we peaked back in August. And although August started to decline, we're starting to plateau. And again, we're going to see a decline here real soon, I believe, with what we're hearing. So, and then the bottom chart just shows C19, and those are COVID-related absences. So, while we have, anywhere 1,000-ish absences, a few hundred are COVID. So not all the absences are COVID related. And, with those students who are COVID-19 related, we can change their absences with our instructional time model that the governing board approved a couple months ago, change them to present. So we're monitoring student attendance as well. And so just like it's hitting staff, it's hitting students. And our data dashboard, the Levine School District continues to track and report COVID-19 data again, and just to be transparent, that's what it is. Some school districts stopped reporting it. Some, when I did some research and was clicking around on different school districts, they just have the Maricopa County one where they can put in their school district and see the community spread, right? Just because tracking it and reporting it, you know, can be an undertaking, but we know it's important to our community, and it's data that we use to drive decision making, and that's our data dashboard. Also can be found on our website, and Chris and I work together to keep that updated. I update Kristen, and Kristen updates the dashboard. That's kind of how that works. Right? So pending any questions from the governing board, that concludes the presentation.
Any questions or comments? Okay, I'm going to tell a story real quick then. But this is one that I heard, so you got to correct me if I'm wrong. And you alluded to it a little bit. My understanding is we needed to go pick up our tests because they no longer had a courier at the county. And so Mr. Tim Thomas went down and took care of that for us. And they were not going to give you the right number of tests. Not surprisingly, they were going to give you fewer tests than what they should have given. Way fewer.
12 tests, not 12 cases. That was
12 tests.
You get 12, and you had me one box with 12, and I'm like, that's not gonna.
Not correct. So he maybe more than begged. I think he said, no, I'm not leaving here until I have all of the cases I was promised. I really appreciate you doing that. I think sometimes the smaller suburban kind of districts don't get the same care, effort, and energy as the larger ones who have been more visible in this. And it's important that we fight for what is ours, and those were ours, and we have them now. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate all the data that you're showing and like the hard work. I talked to Dr. Prout twice this week about it, and he's ready to go into a second grade classroom like that. I mean, you're leading from the top, and whatever you need to do to keep us open, like as parents and community, stay open, stay in person. We appreciate that. And to my fellow parents, like they are working their tail off to make sure that we stay open. We have to reciprocate that, and we have to do our part too. So if our kids are sick, if my kid is sick, we need to stay home, because I don't want if there's already 85 teachers out, I don't want another one out that then impedes all these other kids in the community. And like to investigate about getting the vaccine, my kid got it, and it helps for me. It was just to make sure that it doesn't disrupt their education. And so yeah, just for our parents to be able to do that, because I know you guys are working hard for that.
Yeah, appreciate that, Dr. Stearns. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Thank you for all the effort on organizing for an entire community, not just a school. Right. That's above and beyond.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, no call. Okay, we have a consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. And then next is the extension and revision of the COVID-19 paid sick leave benefit. I think that's a very positive thing. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Negotiation on the easement extension for a cell tower at Trailside Point. Do I have a motion? Did I skip something? Oh, sure did. My apologies. Agreement with Maricopa County Community College District. There is a recommendation to approve this agreement. Do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Been motion and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Now we can do the negotiation of the easement for the extension of the cell tower at Trailside Point. Okay. Got it? All right. It's been motion and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And we are on to comments from the board. We'll start down there with you, Dr. Centers.
I just want to offer my condolences to the Gasper family. It's a beacon of hope for Paseo. My kids knew him, and it's tragic. Our family's been praying for you guys, so our condolences.
Thank you. Dr. Watkins?
Nothing major, just have a great semester and just keep doing what you're doing, stay positive. Keep that that strong school presence that we have here. It really helps our kids flourish and guide them to greatness.
Mrs. Ward.
Happy New Year.
Michelle?
No comment.
No comments? I will just say, I think 2022 is going to be a good year, and let's just all really try to stay positive and manifest that ourselves. And just hang in there. It's going to get better. I really think so. Okay, and I need a motion to enter into executive session, please.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everybody. Thank you. A motion to resume the regular meeting.
Motion?
Motion and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then I need a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Motion.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Good night, friends.
Good night.